Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Rancher and Stilettos Presents Cocktails and Conversations. My name is Marcia Williams Cromer, and I will be your host for this evening, but my guest far surpasses me, far, far. I would like to, yes, yes, you know you do, girl.
Stop, 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 stop.
Good to see you, Shelley. I want everybody to meet Shelley Roxanne. She is a best-selling author. She is a TV and movie producer, and most importantly, my BFF for about 30 years. And I know. Look
We
who,
were we were
look,
like kindergartners.
yeah,
We were
that's even better.
kindergartners.
That's even better. So long ago, so long ago.
So long.
And since then, I'm just gonna throw just a little story out there that kind of encapsulates our relationship for me. And that was a weekend that we were hanging out together when I lived in New York, and Beaches came on.
Oh,
And we were watching Beaches and literally saw ourselves in that movie. And it was just so poignant, right?
it really was. It
I
really
mean,
was.
and to this
Oh,
day,
it gets me choked up even the thought of it.
I'm still the wind beneath your wings.
Oh, I love that you put yourself in there instead of the other way around. But that is true.
that I've learned so much from you, and you've been so
Oh,
supportive of me on this journey. So I'm just thrilled to be able to have you come on and chat a little bit with me about my baby, the Rancher and Stilettos. Which,
congratulations,
oh,
by the way.
thank you, and thank you for.
Triplets. You have triplets.
I
I mean,
know, right?
that's you, but that's you. You don't just do something. People have a single baby. You got to have three babies. Okay,
Well,
that's you.
and the funny thing is now, I was thinking, okay, the first book kind of ended on a cliffhanger. And I just want folks to know, maybe some spoiler alerts here, just FYI. But Shelley has read all three of the books. And so we're going to kind of dive into some conversation around the series. But the three books, the first book was really supposed to just, kind of end on a cliffhanger. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do one more book. Then the second book came out, and of course, to just kind of bring it all together, I needed to do that one last Rancher in Stilettos, and I think that it ended at a good place. What do you think?
What? I mean, first of all, the first two introduced me to a part of my sister that I maybe not knew was there. I didn't know my sister was a freak.
No, wait a minute, wait a minute.
No.
This is just me writing.
No, we are, because you can't bring stuff from you that's not in you. Okay, so let's go there.
I received that. Okay.
Let's just go there. And so that first one, those first two, I was reading, with a fan and some ice water and then some cocktails.
Yes. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers. And I was literally like, ooh, ooh. I thought I was a little too young for the first two. So now on the third series, the last and the final of the three, I was expecting that. And why did you take me there? And like page 2 already, I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even have a chance to sit down and rest before you were already, his hands is going places and my mind was going with him. So then this last one, the unexpected, every page was unexpected, where you took us. And like I said, you're so incredibly gifted and talented and creative in telling stories that as a filmmaker, as a television producer, director, I know what that takes to create a story that has people so interested. And now people all over the world are so interested in the rancher and Stiletto and Zade and her escapades. And that came from you. So thank you on behalf of everyone for what you have done with this, the gift you've given the world with this. So entertaining and so guilty pleasure. I do kind of look around and make sure I'm alone when I'm reading them, because my face, and laugh out loud so many of the times. Probably much of it is because I know you.
Yes, exactly. And
And
I'm like laughing at some of the storylines as I'm writing
right,
because, if I'm truly honest, we've had some funny situations to happen to us. So you don't have to go too far to have a good story, right?
right. But still, you take them to places, even the characters that you've developed and brought to life, because now they exist independent of you.
Right. I agree.
And we are now friends with these people and in love with some and mad at others. But that's the beauty of what you all as writers and storytellers do. And I think it's incredible.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask and talk to you about is, I guess as a goal I had was to empower women on some level, to let them see the diversity of backgrounds that we have as Black women. I grew up on a ranch, and for years I'm thinking at some point when I write this story, I wanted it to be the rancher and Stilettos, because that's how I saw myself, driving up to my parents' ranch after work, on a Friday, see dad on the tractor, and I just jump out the truck and run to him. And I've got my work clothes, my heels on. And I thought people don't realize the diversity of the lives that we live. I don't think there are a lot of people who would know too many Black women who grew up on a ranch and consider themselves ranchers to this day.
Well, I mean, look, now everybody wishes, that they were a rancher and are living vicariously through you. And dare I say that, not to upset the beehive, but you were a Texas girl in a hat and boots before Miss Beyonce was doing her thing. And so you're right about this being a different way of seeing us,
Right, exactly.
because it is not typical, frankly, for anybody. I mean, but especially the way we're portrayed out there in the media, and in entertainment. You don't see us in on ranches with horses and those kinds of things. So it's beautiful. It's never been done. Frankly, I've never read a story or anything related to a Black woman who was a rancher.
So, of all of the dreamers that are the friends that call themselves the dreamers in the book, that's based on some friends that I have in real life.
Mhm.
Which character resonates the most with you?
Well, see, again, I really see myself as, I see Zade in me
Mhm.
and me in her.
Mhm.
Um, but the interesting part about it is it's probably me living vicariously through her,
Mhm.
because there are things that she has done that I would probably maybe want to have done,
Right.
but never did.
Okay.
So that's where certainly I resonate with her the most. I'm not as freaky
Okay,
as
let's have a
her.
drink
And
on
let's call it, all right, let's not call it freaky.
it.
Let's call it free.
Yes, as my parents would say, Marsha's a free spirit.
Free spirit. I am a fence breaking horse. So I get that.
Yep.
But probably not as free as she is, and this is maybe TMI, in the areas that she is. But I respect the businesswoman that she is, the badassness that she is. But in the sexual area, she is, let's say I'm living vicariously through Z there.
A little adventurous, we could say.
Well, yes, like I said, she knows what she wants. I do believe that describes me. Um, but let's just say she not necessarily, well, even I wouldn't say, because church girls, she
Right.
probably she probably is a church girl in the way the real church girls are probably much more free than they would like to admit. Let's just say that.
Right, right. I also feel that while maybe, as a traveler, which she is, she loves Paris. That's one of, the places that she just picks up and goes to kind of get grounded or refreshed or whatever.
She said she let him know she was traveling, let's say still trying to figure some things out. She was doing that before him. So yes.
Right, right. And you mentioned the businesswoman,
Yeah.
the storyline, which brings the main male character into play, is one where she gets with her friends. They decide that they need some investors for a business that they want to start. Um, how in the real world, I mean, it happens all the time, but just the idea that she sees this guy who she's known before, from another time when she worked in New York. Now they meet again in California, and it turns out that after all these years, he was in a relationship, she was in a relationship, and now they're kind of free to explore. And
Yeah. That's an interesting aspect because you know by her getting into business in some way uh with this guy, um it it creates a very interesting and real complication
mhm,
because when people's money are involved, you'll always find yourself at odds, because do you do certain things for and make certain decisions for the benefit of the business or for the benefit of the relationship? And sometimes the two don't meet.
mhm.
That the decision you make may be good for the business, but the relationship may take a hit on that, or vice versa, that the relationship may benefit from that, but the business takes a hit. So
Well, and
going into, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, as you recall, it does impact their relationship. From a business side, Corey, her love interest, wants to, feel like he's got it all together. But if you'll recall, during one piece of the first book, he finds out that she's been in a relationship. She has another guy that she's interested in, and he basically has rolled out the red carpet for her and the Dreamers and their business. And when he finds out about this guy, his jealousy prevents him from staying focused on the business, and he starts to act like a guy with his feelings hurt.
Right. But that happens even when you're not necessarily in a intimate relationship with someone. in business, if they feel that another man is beating their time, even in business,
Yes.
they may behave that way. But he went above and beyond to kind of lock all doors for her.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
But that was him, I think, being, you know, a person of privilege, a white man with privilege, used to having and getting what he wants. So then he decides, okay, I don't get what I want, then everybody gets punished for that. And it went from them flying first class and having, the best treatment that possible to flying coach because they're now paying for their own fare to go out to work with business, to do business with him.
okay, so I have a question about that now that you brought it up, because the issue of race, and I'm sure for the your fans out there, they of course know that Corey is a white male, and Zade is in dating this guy and in a relationship with him. And my question was to you, do you think if he were a Black male with resources, with money, that his behaviors would have been different? Wouldn't a Black man with money and power behave in the same way? What did it have to do with him being a white male?
So I agree, but I think also, there's that level of lifelong privilege, which is something that a Black man would not be privy to. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but power really has no color.
That's true.
Right?
Right?
And I found that the things that he did to utilize his power, even in all the way into the third book, were not unique because he was a white male.
Okay.
That was a man who's used to getting what he wants and using his power to move people out of the way, and to get more favors and benefits from that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because I have seen that in the music business with people who were Black males, utilizing their power in the same way that Corey does throughout the whole thing. So I don't really see that as white privilege, but more as a power play of anyone who has the resources to do it.
Understood.
So that's why I think that it's from maybe the perspective, and I'm asking, is it from the perspective that you've seen, and whether you thought that was unique to his race, or that could have been anyone?
So I'm gonna say that me writing for Zade in with my prism and my lens, her experience has been that the men who were white behave that way. And perhaps, as you say, that is because power went with that, and perhaps more of the Black men or men of color that she was familiar with just weren't quite at that level. I'm gonna take a drink.
Yeah. And well,
Mm.
because you are only as bold as your money allows you to be. Let's just say.
Ooh, so true. So true.
Okay. I mean, and so that's all I'm saying.
And that's an interesting dynamic to think that you have gone through life or your career, or whatever it might be, and you've learned the power that comes with having, wealth, and how you treat people, how you respond to them. On some level, you're responding through the lens of someone who can basically feel that they can have what they want.
Correct. And I believe that that is irrespective of race. Money transcends all of that.
Yeah,
And that's because of the power we put on it. We
yeah,
live in a society that gives respect to people who have money, even when they are crazy. We call them eccentric. And, even when they are corrupt, and we call them creative, whatever it
right,
is,
right,
we give it something else, a different name that is not as demeaning because they have money.
right,
you
right.
know and because of the respect that we give it, the power we give it, it does take on the characteristics. I've always said that money doesn't change you, money amplifies you,
Exactly. It makes you more who you already are.
more of who you are. So
Yep.
if you are a good person, you will be able to be more of that with money. But if you are corruptible, and you are power hungry and insecure,
Yep. Yep.
you become more so
Mm-hmm.
of that with money. And we're seeing that play out before our eyes today in our world.
Yeah, exactly.
And how we feel like we even have to tolerate bad behavior because the person has money.
Exactly. It's just so wrong.
It's beyond wrong. But we give them more concessions, we give them passes, we give them things that if they were without resources,
Mhm.
they wouldn't get.
I agree. I agree. Pivoting just a little bit, talk to me about how the relationship between the dreamers, as a woman who's got great girlfriends, how did that resonate with you?
Well, honestly, again, that really was something that, again, was vicariously um, lived through, because knowing you and all of these decades, and having you watching you have that group of girlfriends that you guys knew each other from pups and came up and went through so many things together, I thought was so cool. And there probably maybe was a little envy there to be able to know that you had this group of women that wanted to see the best for you and you for them.
Mhm.
Um, and while I have, let's say friends here and friends there, it wasn't like we were necessarily a group. I did have that a little bit, but that kind of fractured once we graduated high school. So
Right.
in high school, it was there,
Mhm.
and there was a group of us, but then that fractured as we went off and did our various different things. So we didn't keep that unit like the dreamers have. And so I thought so beautiful.
Some
So
of that, I think, is also a byproduct of the fact that we grew up in such a small town, a small community. Everybody knew everybody. So, if you were a teacher's kid or a preacher's kid or whatever, those people just kind of I became, friends with the parents are friends, so the kids became friends. And
and I had that too. I
yeah,
mean, I grew up in a small town, very small village where everybody knew everyone, and you went to this church or that church. There was two options, and that was pretty much it. Um, but I didn't have still, like I said, that nucleus of girlfriends that just made a commitment to each other. We're going to be a group and we're going to keep this thing going. So I certainly salute you all for doing that. And then for you to bring that to the series, I thought was a great, incredible tribute to them.
oh, thank you, Shelley. And I don't mean to minimize it because I think we all do realize that it's special.
Yeah,
We make a point of finding opportunities to be together and support each other, and it's just it really is an incredible thing that it's lasted for this long.
it absolutely is. And it's really like having sisters from other misters. You
Yeah.
and
And,
again,
and
I
I,
have
I
sisters.
think just when you have those kind of sister relationships, they also serve as like a mirror for you. These are people who know me well enough. I just cannot fake the funk with them. If
Yeah,
I'm going through something, somehow, intuitively they know, and I'm the same with them. So after all these years, there's no reason to act out a certain way because they will call you on it. These women have known me all my life, and
that's what happens in the book that I love, is that they do that,
yeah,
and I love the powwows that when they like, okay, meet me at my house at 7 o'clock, don't be late,
yeah.
and the twist in the third book of what happens with them, as they go into business, and then this twist, which you all will have to see when you read it.
Thank you.
I thought amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.